Kia ora team. When it comes to hunting, I find that there are two physically demanding aspects of it that I need to prepare for if I'm going to enjoy my time up in the hills. It's walking long distance, uphill, and doing both those things with weight on your back. So what I'd like to do is take you through my processes for pack training in preparation for hitting the hills. We need to start with the why. Why would you need to pack train? So obviously there's a tangible cardiovascular benefit for strapping some weight on your back and hitting your local hill up and down like a crazy man or woman. The key aspect, I believe, is body conditioning. Conditioning this to carry that, because as humans, we're not really designed to have these on our backs and hump them up and down hills all day long. So what I'd like to do is take you through my process for pack training, starting with pack selection, right down to sort of the frequency of my training, what weight you put in there, and we'll probably head off in the hills for a bit of a practice and show you sort of how I actually pack train in preparation for the hills. So when it comes to pack selection, it's simple. It should be the pack you intend to take in the hills. Your pack should have these key features like my Tatonka modulus. It should have a supportive frame system, whether internal or external, to support the load you intend to carry. Starting at the top, it should have load lifters that allow you to balance the load, the top of the pack. It should have pack straps that have enough cushioning and padding to take that load. It should have a chest strap to allow the shoulder straps to be pulled in and centered off on the shoulder pocket. It should have a fairly robust and hearty waist belt, which allows you to shift a lot of the pack's weight onto your hips. I'll take you through these things once we get out and start pack training. So with your pack chosen, now it's time to talk about what type of weight to put in there and how much to put in there. Most of us will have access to some form of gym weight. Another cool thing to think about is water weight, either in bladders or water bottles. Once you've chosen your weight system, then we need to have a think about how much should I start with. Now, if your pack is weighted to take up to 35 kgs, I certainly wouldn't start there. That would really tap you out. Start somewhere probably down in that 5 to 10 kilo range. And why I say that is just you still need to build up your cardio and build up your conditioning for this. And you're kind of still going to be learning how to strap your pack up, how to use your load lifters and waist belts and so forth. The rule of thumb for carrying weight, whether it's for pack training or for out on the hills, is to try and have it as close as possible to the back of the frame, around about midway up here, so that you activate both the shoulder straps and the waist belts. Okay, we've got our weight sorted, we've got our pack sorted. It's time to hit the hills for actual pack training session, and I will take you through a few tips and tricks. Alrighty, you ever heard the term train as you intend to perform? That's pretty much my fundamental when it comes to pack training, that I try and mimic as much of the conditions when I'm hunting. Like chest rig, the key thing about wearing a chest rig while pack training is this has an impact on the way your chest expands out when you're huffing and puffing. So obviously that's another training process to get used to that. That's if you wear a chest rig. So the other thing is walking stick. Always carry a particularly my MTN Recovery X, just to give you stability. And this thing's awesome because you can hook and pull yourself up. So we'll get up into the hills and I'll show you exactly what I mean by this little device here. The other thing too is I'm in technically hunting gear. I've got I'd hunt in this t-shirt, hat. These are Firstlite hunting pants, vented, and I've got my Lowa T-cams on, which I would hunt in. Right, in my pack, I've got my Tatonka Alaskan cracks. I've only just come out of the hills from a hunt yesterday. I'm filming this on a Sunday, and so I'm still kind of in a recovery mode. So the weight I've got on this is only 10 kgs because I had 15, 20 odd on yesterday while I was up in the hills. So that's part of the recovery plan, which I'll talk about in frequency of training. When it comes to fitting your pack, and I touched on a bit with the attributes a pack should have or features it should have, the key thing about understanding shoulder straps and waist belts is their weight distribution. So when we start off with a waist belt, it should sit above your hips over here, all right? And when you clip it up, it should kind of sit dead smack in the middle of your belly button. So that's when you kind of know that it's sitting in the right place to take, they say 70% of the weight on your hips, 30% on your shoulders. I'm kind of more of a 60-40, because I'm ex-military and I kind of used to shoulder weight carrying. Not that that's the right thing to do, but I would prefer to have 60% here, 40% on there, and depending on how the weight load is, sometimes 50-50, particularly if my hips are getting sore from a long hump in the scrub. The other thing is shoulder straps. Let me take you through. Those should sit rounded off on your shoulder so they carry the weight. All right, these load lifters are not made for carrying the weight. They're made there for pulling the top of the pack in that way. All right, if you end up having gaps under here, that means the load lift is taking the weight and not the shoulder strap. So shoulder straps all squared away, and then this very important strap here is your center chest strap. This is to keep those shoulder straps in the pocket. I don't know if you've experienced it, but when you don't have one of these and it stretches out like this, and all it does when you've sort of got all the weight on, it actually pulls your chest apart and man, you get sore in there, plus that's absolutely nails your shoulders. So chest strap in here like this keeps the shoulder straps in the pocket. Righty, that's feeling quite comfortable. Let's hit the hill. So the game plan is to head from here up to here. In between here is some really good training terrain. Right, let's get into it. When it comes to walking uphill, you want to try and avoid activating or walking off your toes, which activates your calf. That is a very small muscle, and if you've got a lot of weight on, that's a lot for that little bugger there to take. You're better off putting your whole foot there and activating this section of muscle there. That is a lot bigger than that. So you activate your hamstrings, your quads, and your glutes, your bum muscles. All right. Stay off your calves if you don't want to cook them. Activate your glutes, hamstrings, and quads. It actually takes a bit to get used to look to plant your heel first instead of your toes when you're walking uphill, and you actually feel like a bit of a wounded hippo. Well, that's how I feel when you do it. But you get used to it, and you'll find over long distance you don't fatigue those muscles, particularly those little calf muscles. Another tip is pace and cadence. It's very much a personal thing on how you set your breathing cadence and pace, because it has to be deliberate, you know, especially if you've got a good run of hill in front of you and you know you sort of got to just lock it down and grind it out. So it's like driving a four-wheel drive. Put it in a nice low gear and off you chug away. So being mindful of getting into a breathing cadence, particularly when it's a bit harder and longer for me, I can feel myself go ha, ha, hoo, ha, ha, hoo. Yeah, I know, sounds a bit dorky, but it works for me. Different types of terrain are actually vital to training all your stabilize the muscles, you know, and it's the closest thing you can get to while we're out hunting. Full out fitness is great, but you have to usually train your body and condition your body for this type of terrain. So it's good to have a training environment that can provide that. These are lovely form tracks, and I'm very lucky here is that I can sneak off the form tracks and head up into the unformed tracked area and get some practice. So let's go. I mean, this is hunting, right? This is the environment we operate in. It's funny, when I'm going off the beaten track and training in this environment, it kind of tunes me in. It's a term we would use in the tracking teams to get yourself dialed into the environment. So yeah, kind of makes me feel like I'm out hunting. Anyway, negotiating all this stuff, you know, fallen trees, trip hazards, that's all part of it at the end of the day. I talked to you about the benefits of my walking stick, well, my recovery axe. The way I use it up in the bush is when I've got terrain like this where it's a bit slippery, I can dig it in and help pull myself up. The other one is I can hook it and pull myself up. So that's why I use that. Even the lady down in the car park said, "What are you doing with an ice axe? There's no ice up there." I don't even want to get into explaining it. If you know, you know. Righty. Back on the track. Another good thing, help with your training, is get a watch with a heart rate monitor on it. You kind of can gauge where you're optimizing or where you're training too hard and you're about to pop a foo-foo valve. But I generally can walk this hill with 10, 15 kgs on and about a operational heart rate of around anywhere from 70 up to 120 if I'm putting on a good pace. So, more nice to know in case you blow a circuit. Yeah. That was a steep section. Couldn't really talk. What I wanted to say though was weight, conditioning and cardio, your goals, but ultimately what it needs to manifest itself is endurance. Okay. Physical, mental, ticker endurance. So setting yourself goals to beat times, all that sort of stuff's great, but at the end of the day you want to be able to do this for extended periods of time without dropping it, you know, letting yourself down or letting your mates down, letting your family down, not coming out on time. So anyway.
Now, something I didn't mention while walking up the hill is my training frequency and the weight I carry during those sessions. Usually, I aim for 3 to 4 pack training sessions on my local hills each week. My pack weight typically ranges between 10 and 25 kgs, starting lighter at the beginning of the week and building up to a heavier session midweek. If I'm hunting over the weekend and heading into the hills on Friday, my last training session is on Wednesday, leaving Thursday as a rest day. On the weeks where I manage 4 full training sessions, it generally means I won't be going hunting that weekend. Bugger.
On a sunny day, heaps of people on there. on a shitty day, just me. Oh, so there you have it. That's ROGEES pack training 101. What did we cover off? We covered off the why, the pack training. We covered off the packs. We covered off the weight to put in your pack, how to pack your pack, how to fit your pack, and how to obviously train and walk routine program. Hope you guys got something out of that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on my next adventure.